Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey with a review of the Lamy Al-star Gold 2020 Special Edition fountain pen. Now, this fountain pen pretty much came, certainly in the UK, almost unannounced. I mean, it was released here in the UK in December 2020, and there was no fanfare, very little information came out about it. It just happened to be available on the Pure Pens website. Suddenly popped in there, I noticed it and thought, well, I do collect the Lamy Safaris and I collect the All-Stars. 2020 Special Edition, gold colour is what it is. Had to add it to the collection, and to be honest, it was actually quite cheap. I also used a I think I had a discount code, and if you want a discount code for Cult Pens, they still have this this fountain pen and other pens in stock. Head down to the description below and expand that, have a look through there, and I will put the referral link in there. You can get 10% off if you have a new account. However, I will point out, because some people, myself included, have found that if you use these codes, they're only good once if you've got an account. However, if you register a new email address, new account, the 10% applies. So give that a go if you feel free to do that. So anyway, back to the review. I personally really quite like this. It reminds me a lot of the Lamy LX, which is a much more expensive version of the All-Star that I don't have. It doesn't appeal to me enough to spend that amount of money when you can buy one of these pens for a lot less money. And the gold colour is actually really quite muted. It's not a very yellow gold, it's more of a bronze gold. It's very, I would say it's quite similar to the Lamy Al-star Bronze from 2019, which was a special edition colour. Remember, these are special editions rather than limited editions, so you know they may be available for a while. And yes, it's a typical Lamy Safari, Lamy Al-star pen. Available in ballpoint as well, rollerball, that type of thing. If that floats your boat, chances are it doesn't. But the fountain pen is to be expected, a nice looking fountain pen. It is aluminium and it is reasonably sturdy. Now we'll go over the parts of the pen to begin. We've got a black plastic crossed insert in the top of the cap. We have this black coated clip. Now these black coated clips on the Lamys, if you abuse them and you get scratches and dents and scuffs, these things tend to, they don't flake off, but you can actually damage the coating. And I have seen these with rust on in old pens, but you know, treat your pens well, not going to be a problem. So we've got this black paper clip style clip, which I know some people don't like. Personally, it's never been a real issue to me. I was quite shocked at the Lamy Safari, well, the Lamy Safari design when I first saw it, but it's grown on me and I now collect these pens. We have an ink window, hole, it's not glazed in any way, and on one side we have the Lamy, if I can get this to focus, there we go, Lamy name there. It's an All-Star. Pop the cap off, decently secure cap. Smoky transparent feed, section with the triangular style grip, rounded on the bottom with the two indentations on top to force your fingers into this tripod grip. And most importantly, we have this black anodized winged Lamy nib. Now on there, I don't know whether you can see yet, bold and Lamy. So I went for the broad. I'm getting so confused when I see so many posts online about broad nibs and people say they're bold nibs. Modern day, everyone's used to using bold text online when typing, so it's got a broad steel anodized nibs, and you can swap these off, they just slide off. Slip on a medium nib or something if you fancy a change. The barrel unscrews. and I have installed the optional extra Lamy Z28 converter. Now I will talk a bit about my issues with this pen before I get onto the writing sample. Cap that before I do that so the nib doesn't dry out. I originally inked this pen up using a Lamy cartridge. Now I refilled an empty cartridge, Lamy cartridge, with not Cult Pens, Pure Pens Welsh Gold ink, which is a shimmering ink. It's got gold particles in black ink. Really, really nice ink. And I used the pen, it was fine, left it for about a week, and it just clogged up the whole feed. It would not write. There was no way I could do anything about it. Because I didn't have the converter installed, it was a cartridge, I couldn't prime the feed. I shook the nib, the ink down into the section, and the feed and the nib, nothing would get the pen to write. So I just pulled the cartridge out, cleaned it, flushed the pen. Flushing was easy, it didn't take that long even with this shimmering ink, using a bulb syringe. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to using this pen but with a cartridge, with a converter installed, so that at least if it does have that issue again, I can twist the converter and prime the feed a bit more. So let's have a look at how this pen writes. We have got a bit of a hard start there, but I haven't used this pen for a few days. The broad nib. Now, these pens, they do actually do quite a decent job with these nibs. I'm not a massive fan of the anodized nibs because the coating on there, the anodization, it does actually spoil the writing experience a little tiny bit. It's not quite as good or smooth as it should be, but it still writes well. That's my dog sneezing in the background. Now this is, I'll talk about the ink in a minute. Let's do some, lay down some ink, and bearing in mind that this is a broad nib, it's reasonably wet. Excuse me, I wouldn't have said that it was the broadest of broad nibs. It just happens to be a little bit marginally broader than a Lamy medium nib. Reverse writing, a little bit scratchy, but it goes down to what I would call a fine. It's not the best. It's all right, you could use it, but it's not great, and I think on slightly rougher paper that would feel pretty awful, but it does a good job in normal everyday writing. Now this ink, I'll write it down for you. Let's have a look. There we go. Can you see the gold shimmer? So it is actually, this is Rhodia. Now Rhodia paper I've generally found is not particularly good with ink that sheens or shimmers. I wouldn't say it's absorbent, but it just doesn't show the properties very well. But this is surprisingly good on this paper, this Welsh Gold ink. There we go. Let's see if we can see it down here. It's not actually coming out too well on the camera, but it's pretty good on this paper. So I'm quite impressed with that. overall, I think this is a really nice colour for the pen. I'd say it's not too garish, and I think the black clip and the black anodised nib actually really helps to add to the pen. I don't think it would have looked right with a silver nib or a gold nib. I think Lamy have really done a nice job with the colours on this pen. So it's kind of got that 80s vibe, sort of retro 80s gold glitzy stuff. If that's your sort of thing, then yeah, you'd probably enjoy this pen. So there we have the review of the Lamy Al-star Gold fountain pen. I like it. I'm happy with it. I haven't had to mess around with this nib. It's worked straight out of the box and it's done a good job. I've had to install a converter just in case, but that is purely because of this shimmering ink that I'm using. So I enjoy it. It's a good pen. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Thanks very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.